camp better. But the junior colonel camp is Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Goes from 8 a.m. to noon. Same thing. You can sign up at EKUfootballcamps.com. But that is just an opportunity for kids to come out, and our whole goal is that by the time they leave on Wednesday, they love football. And, it's food, it's fun, it's football, and that's kind of what we go for. There's Kona Ice, there's ice cream, there's pizza one day.
You got them sold right there. You say Kona Ice.
There may or may not be a slip and slide this year. I don't know.
Nice.
So
let's keep Walt off the slip and slide.
Yes,
there's
sure. There's kind of that part. But, the whole thing is that, I'm a college football coach because at some point in my life I fell in love with football.
Yeah.
And, my 7-year-old, who you guys know, is he follows the boys around, and our players will be out at that camp working, and it's a great opportunity for kids in the community to come out and spend the day with us, basically spend the morning with us, and get around our program and have a lot of fun.
It's good for your players too. I mean, to get to be around the little kids and teach them the game.
So the best thing that I always say about it is they're like, when you get some of the football boys out there with that's what Cameron calls them, football boys. When you get the guys out there with some of those little kids, they're like, Coach, I don't know how you do this. I'm like, yeah, this is called being a parent, man. Like it's 24/7. You know what I mean? So, but they have a blast, and they love getting out there and doing back drills with them, and it's not it's anybody from 1st graders all the way through 8th graders. Right. So there's we'll put them in groups with themselves with age appropriate. So like the middle school guys, like it's not going to be all out prospect camp like the high schoolers, but they're going to get a little bit more work. Whereas the kindergartners are going to be a little bit more like, let's just kind of have fun a little bit. And so, but either way, it's a great opportunity for kids to come out. And, and our whole goal is, one is that they love football when they leave, and they love EKU. And that's, if we can do those 2 things in 3 days, then we've accomplished our goal.
Yeah, 3 days. It's $165.
Yeah.
You just get on the online and register. I think it's great. Now, would you take girls at all?
We absolutely will.
Yeah. Okay.
My 9-year-old, as you guys know, is a daughter, and
she's an athlete too.
She is an athlete, and I would, if she decided to come out and run around, she would probably be a pretty good athlete out there. I think. She's very much an inside cat, so I think she'll be.
Is she doing soccer still?
She's doing gymnastics.
Okay.
And so I don't think she'll be outside because she's like, she walks outside. It's too hot. I'm like, okay.
I asked my kids what they wanted to do this weekend. Saturday morning, I was making breakfast. Like, what do y'all want to do? If you could pick anything to do today. My oldest one said stay home, not go anywhere. My son said he wanted to play video games. My youngest one said she wanted to go to the jungle. So we did not go to the jungle.
Covering all bases.
Yeah. So but it's just, it's kind of crazy though when you think about all the excitement that the kids have. They get out there, they can kind of cut loose and have a good time. But it is about learning about the game.
Right.
And they don't get that a lot. And to have kind of that experience of being on the football field, just looking around and kind of taking it all in,
right,
that can be a lot of fun for the kids to just kind of have a moment to look up in the crowd. And maybe someday, who knows? I'm sure Jeffrey Kinley, when back in the day when his mom, that's a good story to tie in right there.
It is, because
and
obviously,
his brother too.
Gavin's over there now, and he, their mom is really good friends with Coach Johnson. His mom and dad, are really good friends with Coach Johnson and their wife, and so she had actually texted me a picture of Jeffrey at little kids camp. That was when Coach Hood was here.
Okay.
And so, but he's this little bitty dude, and he's got this t-shirt down to his knees, and I laughed because I was like, man, that's my kid now.
Yeah.
And also you got Brady Hensley, and there's been a ton of kids who've come through here and come to EKU, but also kids who've went other places too, and went on to great things and went
And I know it's June 1st, 2nd, and 3rd for the Little
Junior
Kids
Colonel,
Camp.
yep.
And then for the Prospect Camp, it'll be the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, right?
Yes, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And then EKUfootballcamps.com. If you Google that, it'll take you right to it, and you can sign up at any time.
And you can sign up for the middle school 7-on-7, and then the high school
so
one,
that'll
too.
be
Those
in
are
July.
Yeah,
Those
so you have to come back.
Those are I kind of run a carnival. I always say we've got food trucks and
it's like a big event. Though.
It
I mean,
is.
You all
It's
put
great.
it on,
It's
and
a
we'll have
huge event.
on Friday.
how many teams? About 150 teams come in.
On Friday with the middle school team, I think we'll have. Right now we're at 40 teams.
Okay.
And then the high school one is right at full. We're at 72 teams.
Okay.
And so combined over the 2 days, it'll be about 115 teams.
There you go.
A little crazy.
Well, you got to come back, tell us more about that. But then
will.
also, we're excited to hear how well these camps
Oh,
went.
yeah.
And some stories of the little kids. That's always the
The
best.
slip and slide is going to be interesting.
I want to see Walt in his cowboy boots
Going down the slip
going
and
down the
slide.
slip. Like, can you imagine? That would be a lot of fun.
I'm not going to
gonna
do it down the hill. I'm going to do it on the turf, so
Yeah,
we're
do it.
good.
Okay,
But
good
yeah,
deal.
slip and slide will be. It'll
Or
be
even the
fun.
coaches.
Well, yeah. I mean,
If it's hot enough, I'll be involved. I
Oh,
promise.
okay. Yeah. Well, if today
like
is
it may
any
be.
indication,
It looks like it
it's
may
going to
be.
be hot.
That's
Yeah.
it.
All right, Coach,
For
thank you for
sure.
coming over and excited about
Yes,
the
thank
camps coming up
you.
next week or in a couple of weeks. Step aside for our first commercial break. A lot more to get to this past weekend. The Madison County Sports Hall of Fame aired live on WBON-TV. We'll look back at a couple of speeches from this past weekend. And the Model Boys basketball program has a new head coach. We'll hear from him when we come back on the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show.
You know what they say. Every great season starts with a strong lineup. Need agility? The Trailblazer cuts through traffic like a wide receiver in the red zone. Power? The Silverado handles work and tailgates like a linebacker on a mission. And if you're ready to go electric, the Equinox EV has the range to go all the way. No matter your game plan, Jack Burford Chevrolet has the vehicle that suits your drive. Stop in, suit up, and let's kick off your next adventure.
We would like to invite you to join our family at Bishop's Small Engine Repair.
Outdoor Power has become a family tradition, with 3 generations here bringing you years of experience.
We will help you find the best selection of outdoor power equipment from Cub Cadet, Grasshopper, DeWalt, Makita, Echo, Shindawa, and now Steel in our Georgetown store.
Or bring your equipment into our service department. We will keep it running for years to come.
And as with all families, we have to keep Mama happy. So come on in and see us at Bishop's Small Engine Repair in Richmond and in Georgetown.
Who makes the best meal in Richmond? Nuevo Vallarta. Friendly service, a place that's good for kids and good for groups. Head to Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond. Nuevo Vallarta is known for warm hospitality, great prices, great food, and the best fajitas in town. Start with an appetizer, order a la carte, or choose from their huge menu of Mexican favorites for grown-ups and kids. Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond.
Patrick O'Neill has been serving Central and Eastern Kentucky since 1995. When someone is accused of something they didn't do, or when a good person makes a mistake, they need the best representation they can find. And that's Patrick O'Neill. Whether it's criminal defense, Social Security, disability, personal injury, workers' compensation, or deeds and wills, when you need legal advice, trust the expertise of Patrick O'Neill. He will get you the money you deserve. His office is located in Jackson, but Patrick practices all over Central and Eastern Kentucky. For more information or for a free consultation, call 606-666-2990.
Back here on the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show, it was a big day for coaching hires in the area. Of course, the Madison Southern Lady Eagles hired Bo Harris, who was an assistant coach on last year's team, as the new head coach for them moving forward. A lot of excitement over there about that. And then today also, Dylan Moran was hired as the head coach of the Model Boys basketball program, filling a couple of voids. There are still some coaching openings left on the basketball side, but 2 big hires today, a lot of excitement around the program. And I actually got to go over and interview Dylan, Coach Moran, today with Nathan. We were both there and talking to him, getting to know him a little bit, and his little boy, his wife was there. And excitement. I know Coach Evans, and listen, Model, Berea, Coach Evans going to Western Hills. We were talking about Coach Fields going over to Jackson County. You know, when you are at the smaller schools, you want to use, or you try to use it as a stepping stone to the next position. And congrats to both Coach Fields and Coach Evans for moving on and finding not necessarily their dream job, but the next step in their coaching careers.
In a sense, yeah. Coach Evans had a historic year at Model this past year. They made the regional tournament for the first time in 11 years. But I think what's exciting if you're Coach Moran is they got the new building that's being worked on right now. And I know they showed off some of the renderings to some of the seniors last week, and I got to see some of those. It looks really good. Yeah. So I think that's an exciting opportunity for all the sports programs at Model.
Yeah, and I think, Samantha, it's a big deal for a coach that wants this job, and you can tell Coach Moran does want to be there.
Right, and it's super exciting for Model. I mean, they've had some turnover in the last several years in their men's basketball program. So looking forward to actually getting to meet him and hear about his story.
Let's hear from him today as we did the interview earlier this afternoon at Model.
Well, I guess it's kind of ironic, right? You were came to EKU. You were your first coaching job was under Scarberry here. So
yes,
kind of ironic. You're already here anyway, obviously, but now being the head coach is kind of comes all full circle here, I guess.
Yeah, that's something you can't make up. It's something that truly excites me. We were here, like I said, like you just said, we started out here almost 10 years ago. Was here for 2 years and kind of went on my journey, and to be able to come back, been a head coach at Nicholas County, but being able to come back here and be an associate head coach under Chris, and then him take one kind of fell perfectly, and this is a place that I've wanted to be for years, and I'm excited to kind of step into this new spot.
And that's kind of cool. I mean, Wes gave you a shot, huh? When you were still a student, right? You were still actually.
Yeah. So I was going into my junior year at EKU, was majoring in sports management. Was actually a manager at EKU for it was about 2 months, and I seen that Model was hiring just a volunteer spot. I was 20 at the time, so emailed Scotty. He got me in contact with Scarberry and started off just as a volunteer, and about 2 months in, the freshman coach quit. So kind of started coaching freshmen right there at 20, and then the following year, Coach Hicks stepped down, and then stepped into the JV role the year after that.
All the time while you're still in this, still a student at EKU, right?
Yes, yeah. So my 2 years here, I hadn't even graduated yet. So.
Well, you've been a few places since then. I mean, obviously you were able to create a community with Eric, with the Kent. Like you said, this is over a year, so you've kind of been around a few places since then.
Yeah.
As coaches do. That's kind of how it goes.
Yeah. After here, like you said, went over and got under Coach Swords. Hadn't coached against him for a couple years, but I had never met him. So whenever there's obviously an animosity, right, between coming from Model and Berea, butting heads for years, and I never met him, so I was like, man, I don't know about that guy. Coach, he reached out to me whenever he figured out I wasn't coming back here, and I went over there, and me and him hit it off. He's one of my best friends now. I wouldn't even call him a mentor. He's truly one of my best friends. So whenever he went to Williamsburg, that's when I took a year. So I was working in sports marketing in Lexington. I wasn't teaching yet. And then whenever he went over to Whitley County, he got back in touch with me and asked me to go back for my master's and start teaching and go down there and coach freshman and JV for him. So that's when I went down there and ended up meeting my wife and coached freshman and JV at Whitley.
Yeah. It's the 1 year at Nicholas. You had 17-14 season and just not the right fit for you down there.
Oh no, it was the perfect fit. We ended up having him May 1st, so kind of right after our first year, and we kind of had some health issues with him and with my wife as well. We were 3 hours away from family, so I coached through summer ball trying to see if we could make it work, and then those issues didn't really get any better, and we felt like we needed to go back home. So we moved back to Whitley County to get back until we could kind of figure out what was going on. Once we kind of got that stuff straightened out is when we kind of jumped back into it. But no, Nicholas County was amazing. It was probably the best year of my life, coaching wise. I loved it. Loved every second of it. Like you said, had a successful year. Went 17-14, most wins in 25 years. All-A region runner-up first time in over 10 years. Beat Harrison County first time in 10 years. So we did a lot of stuff to kind of set the culture there. And then, luckily Spencer was able to take it over for me after that, and then they went on to win district and All-A region. So Definitely love seeing that out of them since then.
Well, you obviously were here last year, but you're here in an exciting time with the new building, the new school. It's going to be a beautiful new gymnasium and all that. It's still year or two away still, but it's coming off a great year last year. There's a lot of excitement around here.
Yeah, I mean, it's the best time to get in. Like you just said, building a new school. We have a lot of youth within our program as well. We lose, obviously, 2 guys with a lot of our production, but we're returning 3 starters, and everybody I had last year on JV is, stepping into that new role with varsity with me. So it'll be a bit of a learning curve for those guys, but they've played for me under a year, and I think we'll be able to just hit the ground running. But the new facilities is obviously a plus. I mean, it's going to be a place that everybody wants to play, everybody will want to be at, and hopefully that'll help us continue building kind of what Chris had established this last year. That's 3 years.
Take it away, Michael.
Well, you talked about being here with Coach Scarberry, Chris as well. What did you see from them and this program that made you want to take it over?
So really it's the community. Everything that they've done has always been model first. And that's something that you don't see at a lot of schools, I feel like. This is a school that's very different in the most unique and best way possible. It's got the community. I still talk to players that I had 10 years ago. I still talk to parents of players that I had 10 years ago. So they had it rolling. Both of those guys established a culture that shows that you can win there with toughness, with something that you don't see at a lot of single-A schools, and that's kind of what I took into my account at Nicholas County. Like outside of my years at Whitley County, I've only been at single-A schools, so I have a special place in my heart for single-A schools. It's where I want to coach and where I want to stay coaching is at this size. I think the All-A is an important thing, and seeing how they attack the entire year to try to go for that is something that really, really spoke to the culture of the program as well.
For you, what is it that you want to maybe do differently, or that you have an idea maybe that now that it's your program, you can do and move the program forward?
I think it's taken the next step when it comes to physicality. I know the year before I got here, they took very few charges, and last year my JV team alone took 8. So that's something I got from Coach Swords. We literally have shirts that say "Take a charge." That's something that I think will take us to the next take us to the next step. Just because you're a single-A school, smaller guys doesn't mean you can't be the most physical team on the floor, and that's kind of going to be our MO. Defense and physicality is where we're gonna thrive. Offensively, I think the last couple years, and even back with Scarberry, we relied a lot on 1 or 2 guys. Our goal is to have 4 guys average double figures. I think that's the key to a successful program. Makes it harder to guard you is when you got to worry about 4 guys instead of 2. So just trying to create a more holistic approach offensively and then a more physical approach defensively.
From model, when you talked about it last year, you had 2 guys who, on any given night, could drop 30 points. Yep. You also had some really good role players. How can you, with those guys moving on now, take the role players and explain to them, or how can you coach them up to where now it's their team, they've got to take a bigger role and take more responsibility?
Yeah, I think part of that will stem from the fact that I had them in JV. We've already had those relationships built with a lot of those guys. Obviously, you're returning 3 starters, which is huge, and one of those guys was a freshman. So you're bringing back Holt and Mayo, and 2 guys that off and on contributed pretty well. But like you said, we kind of had 2 guys that were going to go get 30. So now it's trying to show everybody, and that's what it's going to be big this summer, is that we're going to have 4 guys that can go give you 30. It might be 18, 15, 12, and 12, but that's a recipe for success. So just showing those guys that they're capable of being leaders, guys that have been at that level, and then trying to bridge the gap with those younger guys. And I think the relationship that I already have with those is going to go a long way. I think they seen last year that, I'm for them, and that's going to help a lot. This summer, again, is going to be big for us just because Mayo obviously being injured from track a couple weeks ago, that's a big hit for us, but it'll help us in the long run just because this summer a lot of guys are going to get reps that have not got any run at that varsity level. Last year, we had a 6-man rotation most at times. This year we plan to have 8 to 10. We want to play fast, we're going to play aggressive, and it's going to be a system where a lot of guys can thrive. So this summer is going to be big for us, just getting them acclimated to the speed. We don't really got to worry about putting in it. Like, things are going to be different system-wise, but we're going to be able to hit the ground running instead of a complete reset. So that should make the gap easier for those guys as well.
I have 2 more questions for me. So you're obviously in the 11th region. We know how difficult that is. There's always 4 or 5 teams ranked in the state, I feel like, when you look at the 11th region. So for Model, what does it take to get some consistency? Maybe it's not always being a top 5 or 10 team in the region, but just being a consistent program and eventually getting to where you're winning maybe 15, 20 games every year.
So that stems from us bleeding into our youth program. We plan on really merging our middle school and high school programs together. I think there's been not a huge separation, but a little bit of separation in the past. This year we plan on fully submerging the two together. Same terminology, getting all the coaches on board, having them at our stuff, we'll be at their stuff. Just trying to make it to where we're running the same stuff and doing the same things from really 4th grade all the way up. We'll continue our youth clinic, which will help skill development at the younger age as well. I think that was a good start last year, and we'll continue to do that and take that to the next step, open it up to the community a little bit more. But merging our middle school program and high school program is priority number 1, especially this year. We're planning on getting some middle school coaches that are going to help us do that. And then obviously having a younger high school staff is going to give us a little bit of the time to be able to put into the middle school. But that'll help build consistency where we're not having to worry about gap years or, if there's classes that don't have much. Hopefully that'll kind of fix that, and then establishing the culture at the top end. That way whenever they get to us, they're ready to play hard, play smart, play together.
That was a good transition to my last question, because I was going to ask about your staff. Have you got a staff in mind already, or what are you looking for there?
So, one, we're going to be keeping Ty Schaus on. He's done a phenomenal job with Chris. Me and him really hit it off this year. He kind of led a lot of the scouting. I did most of it this past year, but he was the other guy that did a lot of the scouting for us. He does a lot. Being a teacher in the building is huge. So he does a lot of the grade checks and a lot of the stuff that goes behind the scenes. So that's something we want to keep around. So he's going to be sticking around with us. And our other vacancies in the area that are kind of dictating where the direction we go. But we have some guys in mind, some younger guys that will have the time commitment and passion for coaching that will fit well with us. We plan on bringing in somebody. I have a guy in mind, but I don't want to. He's gunning for a varsity job. So if it works out for him, that's awesome. If it doesn't, obviously that's a route we want to go. And then we also have Coach Marr sticking around. He is again the head coach at Clark Moore. But he helped us out a ton this past year, does a lot with our youth, which is huge. So he'll be around as a volunteer, and then I'll also be bringing on a volunteer from, his name's Isaiah. He played at Lafayette, played D3 JUCO. He's a really good guy, good skill guy that I think is the area that I need to get a little better at with skill development, like at the higher end, because I didn't play college. I was, coaching whenever I was in college. So that's a area that we're trying to merge, and I think our staff will be youthful and passionate and hungry, and that's kind of what we were touching base on earlier with how I got my start, and that's kind of the staff I want to have around me is guys that have that same background.
You know what they say, every great season starts with a strong lineup. Need agility? The Trailblazer cuts through traffic like a wide receiver in the red zone. Power? The Silverado handles work and tailgates like a linebacker on a mission. And if you're ready to go electric, the Equinox EV has the range to go all the way. No matter your game plan, Jack Burford Chevrolet has the vehicle that suits your drive. Stop in, suit up, and let's kick off your next adventure.
We would like to invite you to join our family at Bishop's Small Engine Repair.
Outdoor Power has become a family tradition, with 3 generations here bringing you years of experience.
We will help you find the best selection of outdoor power equipment from Cub Cadet, Grasshopper, DeWalt, Makita, Echo, Shindawa, and now Steel in our Georgetown store.
Or bring your equipment into our service department. We will keep it running for years to come.
And as with all families, we have to keep Mama happy. So come on in and see us at Bishop's Small Engine Repair in Richmond and in Georgetown.
Who makes the best meal in Richmond? Nuevo Vallarta. Friendly service, a place that's good for kids and good for groups. Head to Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond. Nuevo Vallarta is known for warm hospitality, great prices, great food, and the best fajitas in town. Start with an appetizer, order a la carte, or choose from their huge menu of Mexican favorites for grown-ups and kids. Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond.
Patrick O'Neill has been serving Central and Eastern Kentucky since 1995. When someone is accused of something they didn't do, or when a good person makes a mistake, they need the best representation they can find. And that's Patrick O'Neill. Whether it's criminal defense, Social Security, disability, personal injury, workers' compensation, or deeds and wills, when you need legal advice, trust the expertise of Patrick O'Neill. He will get you the money you deserve. His office is located in Jackson, but Patrick practices all over Central and Eastern Kentucky. For more information or for a free consultation, call 606-666-2990.
We're back here on the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show. Before we go on to our final segment, the Madison County Sports Hall of Fame took place, the fifth induction ceremony this past weekend. Some big names going in. Damian Harris, who couldn't be in town. Coach Smoot actually read off his speech. Kind of a cool moment there. Of course, Coach Smoot was on the staff at Southern when Damian played there. They got a really good connection, coming in doing the summer camps and things. And just seeing, Coach Feldhouse and that team, seeing those guys get back together. And they said it was the first time, I think, since maybe that year that they had all been together in the same building. So it was kind of cool to see.
That is cool.
It's always great to see the Hall of Fame. I think they just built it up every year. I think this is the fifth year now.
It was, yeah.
And it's just a great event. So good to see another great class.
Yeah,
Amanda, someday you might be in there.
Maybe.
All of us.
Yeah, that's true.
Playing pickleball.
Listen, there's some pickleball. Can you play pickleball? Are you any good at it?
Just
I don't know.
seeing if you're listening.
Well, listen, there is a lot going on there. If you missed any of the weekend festivities, you can go back and watch it live or watch it from the live broadcast on the WBON-TV Facebook page and on our YouTube channel. Before we sign off, we want to look back at some of the interviews from Luke Stalker, was the really good football player over at Madison Southern, had a really good NFL career, and Alan Feldhouse Jr. following the announcement of his championship team going into the Madison County Sports Hall of Fame. Let's look back at that. Before we do, though, don't forget district championships coming up on Wednesday, should they be played. Right now, Madison Central baseball has a 4-2 lead over Berea, but there is a lot of rain in the forecast. And tomorrow night, election 6 to 9. You can watch it live here on WBON-TV or listen to us on 100.7 The Coyote. So busy day tomorrow, busy week ahead. Thanks for watching. Let's tune in to some of the interviews or some of the speeches from this past weekend's Madison County Sports Hall of Fame.
It's hard to believe it's been 13 years. I think this is the first time that we've all been back together since then. So I know it's very special for me. But on behalf of our entire team, I want to thank the Madison County Sports Hall of Fame for this induction. I can't think of a more deserving group than these young men right here. I could talk about these guys for a long time, but I'm going to try to make it short and sweet. At Madison Central, we take a lot of pride in our basketball program of keeping our guys, holding them accountable for all their actions, both on the floor and off the floor. And I think Coach Roberts and Coach Fritz would agree with me. These guys made us earn our money. I promise you that. There was a lot of accountability issues that we dealt with over the years. There was a lot of tough love that we dealt with over the years, but as I look back on it now, I really think that's what made these guys so successful, especially that championship year. Because if you look at how many basketball games throughout that year that we had to come from behind to win, there were a lot. And I want to give you a couple examples. And our schedule that year was brutal. The King of the Bluegrass, which is the most prestigious tournament in Louisville. Of course, we were invited to that before Christmas, and our first two games were against Louisville schools. And when you go to Louisville and play against Louisville schools, believe me, it's not always easy. The first game was against Louisville St. X. We were down double digits in the first half. And with about 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, 4 out of my 5 starters had fouled out, including Dominique had fouled out. The only one that was left, and these guys remember this, was Kenja. And Kinja played with a 102-degree fever that entire game and really hadn't done that much up to that point because he felt horrible. But had 4 JV players in there. Kinja hits a mid-court shot to put us into overtime, and then he carries us through the overtime and we win. I think he had 4 points with 2 minutes left to go in the regulation, and he ended up with 24 points. So that's just one example. The next night we played Fairdale down by 5 with less than a minute to go. We came back and win. And then, of course, a lot of you probably remember our last 3 games in the state tournament, playing against teams that all had won 30 games. Our quarterfinal game against Covington Homes, we came from a double-digit deficit to win in overtime. Our semifinal game, we played Hopkinsville, who was a 32-game winner. We came from a double-digit deficit behind to win that game. And believe me, some of the adversity that we had to deal with didn't just always happen off the floor, some of it on the floor. One great example, and I'll embarrass him here a little bit, the semifinal game, the state tournament, we're playing, that year we actually played the semifinals on Saturday night and the finals were on Sunday. We had our walkthrough, our shoot around before we played Hopkinsville. I think we're supposed to be at school at 3 or 4. We're all there at 3 o'clock, ready to go over our final instructions, except for our center. And our center was not there yet. Y'all remember this, guys? And he finally shows up about 10 minutes through our walkthrough. I didn't really say anything to him because I didn't want to hear his excuse. And I basically just said, Quan, you're not starting. I think DeMarcus, didn't you start DeMarcus? DeMarcus started. There were no questions. Quan knew he messed up. We won the game. Everybody's celebrating after the game is over with in the locker room. And then finally I said in front of everybody, Quan, why were you late for our shoot-around? And some of you might remember the semifinal game and the final game, Quan had neon green socks on. And that was his excuse, Coach, I didn't have any socks. I had to go to Dunham's to give me some socks to wear to the game. So I said, all right, we got through it. I said, but here's what's going to happen. You will not be late tomorrow because you're going home with me. You're spending the night with me, which that wasn't the first time Quan had spent the night with me, but it's funny how things work out. The championship game, for the first 3 quarters of that game, Quan was the difference. He was the difference in the game, and probably one of my favorite moves of all time when we called an ISO play for him in the post. He called it and he pivoted 5 times, I think, before he stuck it in. Still, well, 3. I exaggerated a little bit. You know, I'm 63 now, so I can exaggerate a little bit. So that was special. And of course, the final game down, what was it, Don Bob? 16? 16 points in the 3rd quarter. Yeah. 32 seconds left. I watched it again. Believe me, I've watched it many times before, but I did watch it again this morning. 32 seconds left to go in the game. We're still down by 5. And then, of course, I like to think maybe we were a team of destiny. We got this. George makes the steal. We're down by 2. It took George, raise your hand there. It took George Walker 0.25 seconds to find Dominique. Got Dominique the basketball. Dominique starts to do his thing, gets tripped. And I think this is where destiny comes into play a little bit, too. The ball just so happens to go into Kinja's hands, one of our best 3-point shooters. And Kinja executed a move that we do in practice every single day in our partner shooting. Our pass fake, jab step, crossover, 1 dribble shot. It's exactly what he did. Hit the 3, nothing but nets, and then, of course, we win the basketball game. So I will say this. I think, and I've said it many times before, we not only had the opportunity to coach these guys, but probably more so than any team that I've had in my 33 years at Madison Central, we did life together with these guys. And I think that's what makes it so special to win a state championship with this bunch, because we did go through a lot together, both on the floor and off the floor. And we're still doing life with some of them right now. We're trying our best. So once again, I want to congratulate all the other inductees tonight, but we really appreciate this. Thank you.
Wow. I mean, look at these names behind me. You know, what a blessing and what an honor it is to be included in this group in the Madison County Sports Hall of Fame. The truth is that I'm simply a culmination of an investment of a ton of people in me throughout the course of my life. And it started right here in Madison County. Obviously, my family, my wife, and my kids continue to this day to invest in me. But my coaches, right, my teachers, and my teammates throughout the years, without them and their support, always preparing me for the next step along the way, right? And that allowed me to have my journey. And like I said, it started right here in Madison County. 1997, I was in 4th grade, my first time ever playing football in Brid Youth Football League, where I signed up. I got put onto a team. I was the youngest player on the team. Full of 5th and 6th graders. I don't think they had lost a game in like 2 years. So I go on there, and a common question I get asked, just from people as they meet me, is, when did you start playing football, and what position did you play? Obviously, I just told you 4th grade, 1997, but my position to start was far. So we'd break the huddle, and I would line far away from where the ball was supposed to go, right? So as we went on, I was the younger guy. I learned my way, and the next year I started figuring things out. I went on to play at Foley Middle School. And then went on to play at Madison Southern High School. My recruiting for college kind of picked up, following my junior year. My high school football coach, Doug Carter, he really, he had, history coaching in college. So he kind of understood the recruiting game. Things had changed. It had been a few years since he'd been a part of it. But, he had me go out, and my mom helped me buy these probably 50 tapes, VHS tapes, right? And so he comes in. I tell guys that I coach now, like, this story, and it blows their mind because they're so used to huddle and rivals and everything is on the cloud. And I'm telling them the story about, VCRs and VHS, and they're like, what does that stand for? So he brings in this metal thing, and it has 4 wheels. He rolls it in there, it has the huge TV, right? My kids probably have never even seen what this TV looks like because it's so deep. It's deeper than it is widescreen. So he has the TV going. He basically puts in game tape by game tape, find the plays he wants to do, creates a highlight tape, if you will, probably 50 or so plays. And he starts sending them out to colleges. The first college we hear from is Western Kentucky, and he had a relationship with one of the coaches there. And I'll never forget, I wasn't privy to the conversation, but Coach Carter had told me, hey, listen, I'm going to send it to him. We'll see what he says back and kind of get an idea of kind of where we think, this thing could go. And we heard back from him, and he said, listen, I talked to him, and it kind of floored me when he told me this, but he said, we would be very interested in this kid, but I think he's going to get recruited and interest by a lot bigger schools. So you should start sending them out and see what you think. So anyway, long story short, we send these tapes out all over the place. We start hearing back from Division I schools, which, again, completely shocked me. I didn't really know what to expect. I was very hopeful just to get an opportunity to play in college, period, let alone for Division I. Went through the recruiting process, ultimately settled for the unpopular choice of the University of Tennessee. Went to play for Coach Fulmer. My tenure there, I playing for 3 head coaches, Philip Fulmer, Lane Kiffin, and Derek Dooley. Went on to play for Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Tennessee Titans, the Minnesota Vikings, and the Atlanta Falcons. And, again, I had a ton of great teammates, a lot of great coaches that continued to pour into me that allowed me to continue to extend my career and really prepared me for my next step in life, which was now I'm a coach. So I took a year off in 2022 to kind of explore what I wanted to do, and nothing I found more evident to me was that I need to be back into football. I need to be back around players and help and pour into them the same way that my coaches poured into me along the way. And so, again, you can read the write-up in there about my history, but I'm hopeful in the near future you can add Super Bowl winning coach to that write-up. Thank you guys very much.